Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And guys, today what we're going to be talking about is Tyrant soloing stage 20 of Spider. Now, the first thing I want to say is I know this is not an original concept. This has been done before. It's been known for a while, but this was a requested video, and I figured that I'd throw it in, do 100 runs, about 100 runs, and see if I could get to 100% consistency. And I've done exactly that. So in the two screenshots I'm about to show is the success that I've had. So the first one right here is going to be 16 out of 16 success. Let me go ahead and try to open this up if I do. Okay, so this one right here is the build that you're currently seeing in the background. We're just going to have that running the whole time in the background there to go ahead and finish up a few of these extra, because I noticed that the math didn't actually add up to 100. In the screenshots, I've actually done like 95, but hopefully you guys can bear with me there with the like 3 runs off. I did some of them outside of RSL Helper, or at least I didn't take a screenshot. I don't know what happened, but here we go. This is the exact build Tyrant is running right now, and that is 70,000 HP, 3,900 defense, 251 speed, no presets whatsoever to his AI, 327 resistance, 219 accuracy. Now with Tyrant and a lot of the champions that I've done, I used to say, okay, 300 resistance is plenty, but I've noticed that I get more consistency as I get to like that 320 resistance mark, and I'm starting to like that more and more. The poisons of these spiders can really mess up the runs, okay? Because I've had runs, I'm gonna show you guys screenshots in just a few minutes, where I would literally run 10 in a row, win all of them, and then all of a sudden, boom, I lose 3 in a row. Really messes up the odds, but this one's been very, very safe so far. So this is the first screenshot. The next screenshot, I walked away from the PC and I had to reset the run. This one right here is 79 out of 79, the exact same build, 70,000 HP, 3,900 defense, 327 resistance, and 219 accuracy. Now, if you're just here for the build, this right here is what you're gonna wanna be looking at. So this right here is the exact Tyrant build. I'll go ahead and hide my webcam. Now, this is Immortal gear plus regeneration gear. Now, there are some other builds you can do for Tyrant, but since we have a Fusion Spider tournament coming up tomorrow, plus CVC, I wanted to go ahead and get this video out to you guys. But if I do find some other builds, what I'll do is I'll leave a link down below in the comment section, and I'll have the build to the other 100% consistency or whatever rate of consistency I can get for Tyrant. I believe a lifesteal set will work, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I haven't tested that out. I just wanted to get this out there. This actually took a long time, okay? So this build right here, if it was easy enough to just throw it in there, let it run, that'd been perfect. But I don't want to take my regeneration and immortal set, copy and paste it to each and every champion. My goal with these videos is to not only find if the champion can do it at 100% consistency, but also find kind of the lower level of gear that they can do it with. With that said, this is where I guess the energy wasting started coming in. So right here, you can see we had 60 out of 63, and this set right here, so all the stuff before that is the 100% consistent runs. The next few screenshots are going to be the ones where it kind of messed up on me. Let me go ahead and open this in the background and have a few running just so we can continue running and you guys can see that it won't fail whatsoever. I'm not worried about it possibly failing because I've done 100 runs already and it hasn't failed any of those. So this one right here, this was an Immortal plus Guardian. So if you don't know, Guardian gear does give you healing each turn, so it was nice. And Immortal also gives you healing. I believe it's like 13% total between those two. We have 10% from the Guardian and 3% from Immortal compared to Regeneration, where it's 15% plus the 3% from Immortal. Now, this was with 75,000 HP, so we had a little bit more HP. We had about the same defense. We had the speed a little bit lower, but not significantly. A little bit less resistance, about the same accuracy, more or less. And it was 60 out of 63 as far as consistency. 95% isn't terrible. It's definitely a range where I'd feel comfortable running it, but I had a feeling that Tyrant could get to 100%. I just needed some better gear. So this right here, if you're interested in a little bit lower gear requirements, maybe you could get this number. It could work very well for you. Or if maybe you threw them in 3 immortal sets, you could bump that HP up a little bit higher and may get a pretty similar result. So you can tweak this stuff and come out with some pretty decent results. So I'm gonna zoom out on this one. Now the next one, so this is Immortal plus Guardian, 75,000 HP, relatively decent speed. This next one, 85,000 HP. I dropped the defense significantly, and then I bumped the speed up quite a bit as well. So my thought process with this was, okay, Immortal plus Guardian, the more turns I get, the more healing I'm gonna have happening to me, right? Seems pretty logical. Well, this one was actually the worst overall win rate. So this right here goes to show that the defense number that Tyrant has is very, very important, because even though the health was significantly higher, the speed was also significantly higher. Taking less damage from each one of those spiderling hits was way more valuable. So that extra 800 defense between these two, even losing that speed, was much better. So keep that in mind. If you can kind of give and take each one of those interchangeably. So like the build I have back here, basically what I'm trying to say is this is 4,000 defense, 70,000 HP. Maybe you can get 75,000 HP, but the highest you can get is like 3,700 defense. Go ahead and give it a shot. It may work perfectly fine, but if you start making a big differences like this, it just didn't work, okay? He was taking too much damage each turn. The resistance was also sitting at 306, which may actually be too low for him, but this 91% consistent run, I don't like that whatsoever. You're basically doing 100 runs. You're only winning 90 of them. So if the run costs, what, 16 energy each one, you're losing 10. That's what, 160 energy? Basically an energy refill or 40 gems wasted for every 100 runs. And I would rather my runs be at 100% or as close to 100% as possible. Now, like I said, whenever we finish with all this run time isn't too bad. So 2 minutes and 21 seconds, about 2 minutes was the average. So this was the highly consistent one, the 100% consistent, 2 minutes and 3 seconds there. And then we had on this one, 1 minute and 50 seconds. It seems about a minute. Some runs are, sorry, about 2 minutes. Some runs are a minute 30. Some runs are 2 minutes and 30. So it just kind of depends on how the RNG lands, so on and so forth. Sometimes you burn all the spiders. Sometimes some of them resist it. Just weird stuff how it happens. And it's really weird when you look back on runs that you think were going to be really good, like those Guardians that I had. And then all of a sudden it wins 10. And it literally lost 3 in a row, which I didn't understand why that happened. Most of the time I just walk away, come back and see what's going on. And that time I came back and it had lost. Now, as far as this set goes, the masteries are pretty important, okay? So I wanted to get resistance. Now, if you can get your resistance perfectly fine, don't get this. If you can get plenty of HP and you struggle with your accuracy, go ahead and pick up pinpoint accuracy. So these two up here just really depend on your individual account. Like I said, if you can get the 300, 320 resistance, no problem. Go ahead and pick up extra defense. More survivability is always going to be nice. Now, this is going to help reduce some of the AoE damage from the spider. Shadow heal does help whenever the big spider does its heal. You'll get a little bit of healing from that as well, which is awesome, especially since you have a pretty big HP pool with Tyrant going at 70,000 HP. And then we have a little bit of damage mitigation, not significant. And then Retribution, he does heal on his A1 ability. So it's nice if he does counterattack, but he's not going to be getting that counterattack very often, if at all. What is this? If they lose 25% of their max HP, it's going to happen sometimes, not super frequently. And then we got the Arcane Celerity, basically boosted turn meter. I want him to go as fast as possible. I found the best luck with that. Obviously, Spirit Haste, very, very important. We got Lasting Gifts, increase defense, make it last 1 extra turn or have a chance to. And then we have Oppressor. And then a little bit more RNG with Cycle of Magic. With Tyrant, the little extra layer of RNG isn't bad. Some of these solo champions, you don't want all kinds of reset stuff, because if they reset their ability at the wrong time and you have it specifically speed tuned, then it can mess the runs up. With this RNG included in the run, with possibly resetting stuff, possibly boosting the turn meter, it's going to not make it as consistent as far as the times go, like you're seeing. But if we had everything evened out, the times would be more consistent, but it may not be as consistent as far as the win rate. I don't know. We don't have it like that. So this is what's worked out perfectly for me. Now, as far as the skills go, you don't need the A1 booked. The A2 ability, you definitely want this booked because it's got buff and debuff chance. You want to land the burns, so you definitely need this to be booked. 3 turns. It's going to be a 4-turn cooldown if it's not booked, so 100% you need to book that. Now, as far as his increased defense, he's a little bit weird. So what he does, I don't really think this needs to be booked, but the thing that's weird about this is if the spider, the big spider, is below 50% HP, he seems to stop casting this on himself, which is weird because he would definitely value from it or definitely benefit from having the increased defense on himself, but he just stops doing it all of a sudden. At least I've noticed that in a few runs. It's weird. Sometimes he does it, sometimes he doesn't. So if you wanted a really consistent run, maybe you wanted to try to jump up to Spider Stage 24, where he's also strong affinity on, which I did try. He did win a few, but I don't like the idea of using presets, and I kind of have to use the presets. I have a team down here, I think, made with him. I did yesterday or recently have a team made with him. I guess I don't anymore. I went ahead and got rid of it because it wasn't very consistent. Plus, I want to leave this stuff on overnight to run with RSL Helper, swap out my food champions. It just didn't make a ton of sense. But if that's something you're okay with, definitely go ahead and throw him in there. Set the presets. What I did is I prioritized the A2 ability, so I put a number 1 there. And then on the A3 ability, I put a number 2 there. So he would use his burn as number 1 priority, and then he used that increased defense as a number 2 priority, making sure that he continually used it whenever he had the ability to. So definitely something to consider. He can farm Spider Stage 24, but the gear requirement is going to be significantly higher. And as far as CVC points, you're not going to get a huge benefit. So you can get some better gear, but if you're trying to farm CVC points, you're trying to get the experience, you're trying to get all that kind of stuff, Spider Stage 24 doesn't make a lot of sense as far as efficiency. Now, as far as gear drops, maybe it does make sense, but Spider is just such a good dungeon, okay? Such a good dungeon to farm because it's the fastest for most people. It gives great silver, great points for tournaments, great points for spiders, just for CVC that is. Just such a great dungeon to farm. The best dungeon of all the dungeons as far as experience per run goes for your food champion. So guys, this is the Tyrant solo stage 20 spider build. You can see right here, it's 200 points for stage 20 to 24, and then 25 jumps up to 300. If you can farm 25 solo, awesome, but Tyrant is just not quite to that point to be able to do it, at least not mine. I think my gear would be much, much crazier if I could actually do that. But either way, guys, best of luck building your Tyrant. Let me know if you want to see any other champion tested out soloing any other content. I can definitely get into that. And if I find a way to make him work 100% consistent with the lifesteal gear, what I'll do is I'll leave it linked down below in the comment section. Or if anybody else has RSL helper screenshots of your Tyrant soloing stage 20 spider in lifesteal gear, definitely send me that through Discord. I'll leave a link to all that stuff down below. And if you have it, send it to me and I'll post that in the comment section down below in case somebody wants to build them in a different way other than regeneration plus immortal. So this set is what it is. I'll click through these pieces real quick for you guys in case you're curious about the stats on each piece, HP percent, defense percent, which is showed in the RSL helper screenshot, each one broken down better. We have no glyphs on that. Glyphs are definitely very, very important. But guys, with that said, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video.